So the flex photos, I actually did bodybuilding when I was 17, 18 with my little brother. So, and then Pumping Iron obviously is one of the greatest movies ever made, or documentaries, fake documentaries, whatever it is. So I remember in high school, me and my brother would watch that every single day and then go to the gym. So like we practiced posing a lot. Just kind of carried it over. You know, we work really hard for all these muscles. It's fun to flex them sometimes. For a good flex photo, honestly, like these kind of lights, these fluorescent lights with a low ceiling, back kind of away from the windows is usually the best. But I'm dealing with like iPhones, you know. You have these fancy cameras, so you always tell me get in the light, which I still think I'm gonna be washed out. But I think a low ceiling with fluorescent lights is the key. And then just, you know, you gotta place yourself, play with it, have your buddies say like, oh yeah, that's really good right there. Lighting, aggression. And then there's no sexism in this. It's guys or girls, doesn't matter. I did a competition in Seattle and I had already had stem cells in my shoulders. They were kind of healing. I felt it rip again on a snatch and I was pretty much fed up with it, done. I remember calling, I think it was Michael Caju at the time from Brute, and saying like, hey man, don't worry about programming for me. Like, I think I'm done, my shoulders are hurting. I'm just gonna work out for health and stop trying to compete. And I think it was him that told me about Sean. So I thought, well, I'll try. Because I just didn't want to have surgery. I'd already been through so many procedures, stem cell wise, I was over it. And talking with Sean, he made me believe that I could get healthy again, so we started with it. He had these elaborate tests I had to do, split up over 3 or 4 days. They were absolutely awful. But I remember one test, it was really discouraging for me, is we had to do a 1-arm high pull. And with this left side, I think it was 25 pounds for 6 reps maybe. And I did 23 reps with 45 pounds on that side. So it was, and Sean even said it was one of the biggest discrepancies he's seen. But I'm talking within 6 weeks, I had almost evened those out and tons of the pain was going away. So it's just a little snippet of what the program can do and what it did for me.
So it wasn't hard to get Jared to agree to work with us because he was pretty desperate when he came on. That being said, it was hard to get Jared enthusiastic about it because this was totally different from what he'd been told before. We weren't a high-powered orthopedic surgeon with a lot of authority who was telling him this is how it needs to be done. So to get Jared where he needed to go was really a lot of earning trust, having conversations, and meeting him where he was at mentally instead of trying to force what we do down his throat as fast as possible.
I initially trusted Sean, not at all, but I was desperate. So desperation is a stinky cologne and I had it real thick.
We were also connected by someone who I think you trusted, right?
Yeah, Brute had done a pretty good job of taking care of me, so they suggested Sean. I was like, I'm not getting surgery. They say he's really good. I talked to him on the phone, told him what I had going on, and he was like, there's no guarantees I can fix you, but it sounds like you are fixable. And I was willing to try anything. And then I remember that night being like, I'm gonna trust the process and like stick with it no matter what, and just communicate with him, which is hard for me to do. And he proved himself to me. That's what really did it. So like that trust was built based off him caring and following through with what he said he was gonna do for me.
So what are you thinking?
So I'm thinking 4 movements, 5 rounds. We'll just stick with clean since we've already done some. We'll go power clean. Let's say 5 would be pretty rough. And I'll have Sean do the girls' weight. Sit-ups. And so we get 15 in a minute. Pull-ups. Plus 3 chest to bar. Plus 1 bar. That's gonna hurt super bad. So that's minute 1. Round 2. Sorry, round. 12 cal erg. 18.
symmetry, you almost have to go to 24 minutes now.
Like this is gonna be this right here. Wait, where is it? That
Yeah.
is gonna be horrible, and that I think together, breath-wise, is gonna be. All right, and then I guess we'll just come back around for 4 and 5.
Yep. Easy workout.
I mean, we could add like a 5th movement, go for 5 more minutes, and do a bunch of air squats.
Depends how your knees feel.
Like it.
You don't get a say.
Power team? Okay. What? It's 2 for 25 you, 155 is me? Is that okay? Cool.
Well, it's the women's weight.
Right, whatever. Although Christine would probably be heavier than that.
She'd be doing 200.
Yeah. 6 pull-ups. Okay. Awesome. This would be great. And he was using heavier weights, he was doing more complex gymnastic stuff than I was, and he was certainly racking up those calories a lot faster than me. It's not about competing with the guy. It's about him being able to relate that he does this too. You know, he knows, okay, well, Sean works out, so we can have a conversation about that. Sean knows how to make himself hurt in the gym too. He doesn't need 225 for power cleans to do it, but he can make himself hurt in the gym too. That's enough of a commonality to have a conversation. I don't need to be doing the same weights. I think it's important that any coach you work with has at least experienced something like what you're going to experience in your sport. So, do I think I need to have played competitive football to work with a competitive football player? No, because there's enough similarities in what we do around the sport that we have commonality. Do I need to have run the 100-meter dash to work with a 100-meter dash runner? No, but I need to have sprinted in my life. I need to have done the kind of training that a sprinter would go through. So I don't think it needs to be, have you done exactly what I've done? I do believe that there needs to be a, do you have the same kind of mindset that it took me to be great at this? That's the conversation point.
The initial, like I worked with Sean very intensively the first, year, I would say. And then now it's more maintenance. Like I feel so much healthier. Little things will pop up if I do something stupid, and he goes back and forth with Nick on kind of what I would need, and it's implemented in there. It's not quite as aggressive, and the volume is lower now that I'm feeling much better.
It's a check-in process.
Yeah.
You know, like my goal is not to have somebody like Jared have to be on a consistent linear progression that we're writing for the rest of his life. It's to get him in a place where his body can handle the volume and the load and the intensity that he wants to train at, and then to release him to do it.
Yeah.
And to be available for text messages or phone calls or anything like that that goes on in between.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I know, like, if I start like skipping out on some of that stuff, my shoulders will start bugging me again. Nothing like they were, but then I just start adding in some passive hangs and some high pulls, and literally a couple weeks of that and I'm back. So just staying on it and maintaining and like kind of absorbing stuff that he's teaching me rather than just being completely ignorant to it and just doing whatever's on paper. I think that is what really helps me, and then I'm able to take what I've learned from him and apply it to my gym members, which is cool.
The other thing is, I mean, he has retired professional football player shoulders and competitive CrossFitter shoulders. So he has radiographic findings. He has stuff in there that a lot of people would look at and be like, we need to operate on that right now. And because of that, he has to do things if he wants to be able to continue to train the way he trains. But he's smart enough to figure it out.
I've seen huge change in Jared from the time we started working with him to the time that we are now. And most of it is between his ears. I mean, he is so much more willing to do less to get more than he ever was before. He's not just gonna grind himself for the sake of grinding himself. He's a smarter athlete, and he's a better athlete for it.
So if the CrossFit Games ends tomorrow, I'm gonna do the same thing. I mean, there's so many people out there that still need fitness in their life. And with my gym, I feel like that's such a good avenue to be able to help people. Like, the main goal of the gym is for that 30 to 50, 60, 70-year-old human to have a better quality of life, to be able to play with their kids, to do those. So that's the thing, I'm passionate about that. The competition thing, it can still be there just inside the gym with my friends and buddies or whatever. So I don't think that the CrossFit Games disappearing would be devastating to me or my character. There's still a lot of fitness out there.